Welcome to Why They Play the Game, a show created to discuss the NBA on and off the court. I'm just one of your hosts, Michael Eric Owens.
And I'm Ken Hayes.
Oh, my brother, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. Well, I can
Hey,
complain about this weather, but that's, man.
yeah. Y'all still in the frozen tundra. I
Right.
get it, huh?
Yeah, 6.5 inches of snow. So,
Oh man, that is crazy, folks. But listen, while you Wisconsin folks trying to get warm up there, hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification button so you can get this heat that we putting out here. How's that? To warm up your kitchen area. Um Man, so thanks again to Jim Gauze for
oh,
coming on the
yeah.
show. And man, we had a lot of great feedback regarding that show, man, and continue to wish him much success. And listeners, we appreciate you tuning in and giving your opinion as always. So,
Of course.
Ken, our game of the week. Exciting game, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I should say the Denver Nuggets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, because the game was played in Minnesota without Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert. We were mentioned both of their big men were out.
Correct.
But so what was your assessment, man? It went down to the wire.
Yeah, went down to the last second shot, that Ant couldn't make. But I mean, it was a good game. I think Minnesota got down by 15 at halftime. Just didn't look like they were clicking on all cylinders. But I'm gonna tell you, Mike, man, uh, McDaniels from Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
man, he was whooping on Murray. That I'm like, man, I think he ended up with 26, and he was, I mean, going to the basket, mid range, and everything else. I was like, man. So Minnesota, they were out. You know, they're two bigs. I think Ant tried to carry him. I think he ended up with 30, 32, somewhere around there. But man, Denver's just, they to me, they're the best team as far as passing, assists, just playing team ball in the NBA. You got to give it to them. Michael Porter Jr., he had a nice game. I think he ended up with like 26 also. Um, I'll say this. Murray struggled, and maybe that was because of McDaniels, because he was serving them. I mean, big time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is with those two guys out, somebody has to step up. Somebody's gonna get those shots. Somebody's going to, and again, if I'm Denver, hey, he can get 40. Okay. He as long as Edwards don't get 50, which he had 30, then we probably gonna beat them. I never felt like Minnesota had any potential winning that game. I
You
felt
didn't think
like
so?
Denver, nah, man. I felt like Denver handled them early. I felt like in the NBA, teams are going to make runs, especially if you're home and you
Oh
are
yeah.
a good team like Denver. But I just felt like they had that game in their grasp the whole entire way. And this is the problem with Minnesota. You Anthony Edwards again, as good of a player as he is, and he's showing us that he can ball, but 30's not good enough. It's not good enough for them to win big games, man. He's gonna have, because you're giving up. You got Cat out, so you're losing.
Yeah.
That's like saying Dame. Okay, Dame, 30 is good enough for Dame without Giannis. It's really not unless Bobby get 31. It's
Or
really
somebody,
not.
right.
And exactly. So you have to somebody, and McDaniels is not that dude that's gonna step up for them consistently. So I just, man, I tip my hat to Minnesota for continuing to play hard. I mean, when you look at the team stats, I mean, basically, um, Denver had that one bad quarter. They just came out. They just came out
Flat.
slow.
Yeah.
Exactly. They came out that way. Minnesota took advantage of it because, Ken, if they had not have had a terrible, they were outscored by 12 points in the third quarter.
Third, right.
They'd have blew them straight out. at home. So I just, man, when I looked at Yoke, he was doing whatever he wanted to do. You know,
I
they
think
have
he
no
didn't
answer
he
for
end up with
him.
30.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They
but
didn't go ahead.
to me, Mike, the glaring point that
Mm-hmm.
Cat, I mean not Cat, I'm sorry, Ant had 26 shots and got 30 points. I'll take that
Mm.
all day. I mean, if you're gonna shoot 26 times, you're looking to get, let's just say 40, 42,
Mm-hmm.
40,
Mm-hmm.
something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But yeah, I think that was a big key in the game. I know he had, took it upon himself to carry the team, but
Who Edwards
26,
you talking
yeah,
about? Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, them a lot of shots to get 30.
right,
Okay,
exactly.
let's just be honest. And I again, um, when I look at Minnesota, man, I see a team that yes, they can compete. They have a level of talent, but man, we're moving toward the big dance. Okay, it's March Madness. The Badgers
Yeah,
already done took an exit.
I saw that
Ridiculous,
coming.
man. Yeah, that's
Right,
a whole nother
that's
conversation,
right.
Ken. And oh man, talk about disappointing. You know, it's the big dance, man. And you have to, at this stage of the game, looking at those teams which are going to be healthy and compete. I don't think Cat's coming back this year.
Oh, I don't
I,
think so either.
I don't think Rudy is not gonna make that major of a difference when it comes down to whether you're gonna win or lose games. And so I just think Minnesota is a team that while we were very excited about them, they had a great season. I don't think they're going anywhere. I mean, again, when I watched the first half of that game, man, Denver just they had everything they wanted. I mean, there was nothing. And Ken, you pointed out, man, since the All-Star break, Michael Porter Jr. has been
Oh,
an assassin, man.
man.
Ken, he on the streak, bruh.
Right.
Woo! And them shots he hit, them not no set shots, man. He fading to the left, he pulling up. He hitting you
Take
with
him
the
to the
mid
basket.
range. Man, I'm telling you, if he plays like that, which I doubt, okay, in the playoffs, okay. But if he did, man, Denver's almost unstoppable, man, because you cannot have him out there sharp shooting on you and Murray and Jokic in the pick and roll, man, killing you. What do you stop? What do
Exactly. But Mike, the thing about it in this game right here, shoot, I'm sorry, Denver shot 52, almost 52% overall, and
Yeah.
52% from the three.
Yeah,
What you
man.
gonna do with that?
You lose. you go you you gonna lose, man, because like, and Murray didn't, like you say, Murray didn't have a outstanding game. However, man, listen, if McDaniel's gonna cook, I'm gonna let him cook. I don't. He not gonna beat me. He can get just like AJ Green. AJ Green can hit 6, 7 threes. I'm gonna let him do that as long as Giannis is not dominating and Dame is not dominating. That's where the problem comes because Ken, you know what's gonna happen? If in the end AJ not gonna take that shot, and if he take that shot, he gonna miss that shot. McDaniel's not gonna take that last shot. It's gonna be Anthony Edwards,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
being able to frustrate him for a lot of the game, make him work real hard. He had a wide open Ken. That was the easiest shot of the
Yeah,
night for him.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, when I saw Pope slip, I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh yeah, this OT right here. This OT right here. And it
Nah.
was like short. So sometimes, man, I feel like you can we say, okay, we don't care what they do. He can get his, but we are going to make it difficult. Anthony Edwards can't get 50 because if
Oh,
he
I
get 50, we're gonna be in trouble.
I agree with what you're saying, Mike. But I'm just saying, I just think it took a. I'll say this: I think it took a toll on Murray throughout the game because he was struggling big time.
Yeah, Murray does that, man. He does that. But the crazy thing about Murray though, he'll struggle all game on you, but he'll hit
But
that. He'll hit that. He'll
right.
hit that
He
buzzer
hit.
beater on you. He'll make that right pass in the end.
Oh
He's that
yeah,
type of dude
he's a true
where,
professional.
yeah. And I think too, Ken, it's a lot easier to not be as aggressive when you see what Michael Porter Jr. is doing. when you see where the flow is going in another way, you're kind of like, okay, he got it going tonight. I'm not really on my A game. Let me see how I can feed him. Now, if he starts struggling, then okay, Murray probably says, I need to get more aggressive. I need to do more of this. I need to do more of that. But man, it's an 82 game season, man. And
Oh
I
yeah,
have to tell you, man, Michael Porter Jr., I'm gonna tip my hat to him because I've been critical
Oh,
of
we both
Michael.
have
But man,
playing
he
well.
on one right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he on one right now. I want him to cool down. I'm like, you need somebody can we need to
No.
go in or something, man. We need to cut off his electricity.
No, he need to no, Mike. He need to stay hot because playoff time right around the corner, and I've seen some series where he's just been on that milk cart, Mike.
Yeah,
So
see you later. Yeah,
right,
yeah. So and again, why I'm excited to see the way he's playing now. Um, I've yet to see him play at that level in the playoffs. So
exactly.
if he can do that this year, then maybe we'll find ourselves seeing something spectacular. Because I think it's hard to beat Denver, man.
It is.
If that dude is hot like that, man, it's gonna be difficult. So did this tell you anything about either of the team as we move toward the stretch? I think there's 12 games left or something
Right.
like that.
On Denver's side, Mike, I'll say this is that they got a quality team, and when I say that is
Mhm.
just, I mean they do just about everything well.
Yeah.
On the other end, as far as Minnesota, without those big two, they just don't stand a chance because Edwards can't put that on all on him and try to score. Let's just say 35, 40. He gonna need some help, but where's that help gonna come from?
Yeah. 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 I completely agree with you, brother. Completely agree with you. It's and as we are on this subject, folks, the it's starting to shape up, Ken. I think it's starting to shape up in a way where and we're talking about moving toward the play-in tournament. And I think it's starting to shape up in a way that it probably won't change much. And so when we look here at ESPN, the NBA standings brought to us by ESPN.com, what we see here, Ken, is we looking at those teams from 7 to 10 and look at that Eastern Conference, man. What does that say to you?
You know, um, I think Miami. This is when they come on strong. This time of
Mm,
playoff time. Um, that they will end up playing as it stands right now. Play Atlanta, and
yeah.
then Philly would play Chicago.
Yes.
I mean, the the only thing that I see is that Philly Chicago.
Mm,
That Chicago might upset. I won't say upset, but yeah, beat Philly in this play-in right about now. Without Embiid,
yeah.
uh, you know, uh, Chicago got a good chance of getting through there.
So,
Go ahead.
who are the two teams you think will come up out of the play-in?
I'm gonna say Miami and Chicago right about
Mm,
now.
interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think
Mm,
Atlanta because their Trey is
oh,
out.
yeah, man. I don't. Okay.
I don't even think he can come
Yeah,
back.
come
He
on,
ain't
man.
come back.
Yeah, and the thing about it, Atlanta shouldn't even be. Unfortunately, I mean, Atlanta is. That just tells you how weak. Because we're going to go to the West here in a minute, but that tells you just how weak the lower part of the East is. Because Atlanta is a terrible team this year, and they have a potential to get into the playoffs. I agree with you, Ken, on the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, uh, you have to beat them. I mean, they're not
Right.
going to lay down for you, and so I think Philadelphia is still the question mark for me because they play well. I know Tobias has been out, I think. And so who knows Embiid? Will Embiid come back, Ken?
Yeah, no. If I was Philly, I would say he shut down. We'll see you next year.
They said he's ramping up next month, man. They said they got him on schedule to start, some physical activity and ramping back up and what will he be when he comes back if he's fully healthy? He doesn't have the win. Let's say this, Ken. Okay, let's say this. Embiid comes back
Okay.
and he's not, he doesn't have his win, but he's still Joel Embiid. Okay, let's just keep it real, right? So,
Okay.
say he plays a minute restriction, he plays, in the play in 25 minutes a game. Do you think Philadelphia can be one of those 8 teams?
With that being said, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say they have a better chance at winning, but
Yeah.
I just, even Chicago can give them a run, Mike, with or without Embiid. And I just see that Chicago coming through. Even if Embiid comes back, I mean, that gives Philly a better chance of winning, but I still think Chicago will win coming through
Mm.
there.
Oh,
As
okay. Let me ask you another question.
okay.
Do you think Miami might catch Indiana? I mean, when you look at it, they really only
They
one
on
game behind in
a
in the
game and a
loss
half,
column.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean that.
right. Yeah. I mean, I think Miami will want to get out of that 7th spot.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, how bad do they want it? They they're trying to let's just say I'm gonna say rest some players
Mm-hmm.
for the playoff
Mm-hmm.
run.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of you know, how they play down the stretch in their schedule. I mean, I haven't really looked at it, but
Yeah.
I think it would be in Miami's best interest to try to get that 6th spot, so they don't have to go through the play in, and then they can, let's just save some of their veteran players. But
Yeah.
Indiana has been struggling a little bit lately too.
Indiana looks terrible. I mean, when you look at Tyrese, oh man, he has been. There's been some games where he hasn't even scored in double figures. And I don't know, coming off the injury, his game has not been the same. So I don't know if he's still, he's still
Le-
being plagued by that injury, but he has not been the same player, man. And I've seen them play several games, and they do not look like
Yeah.
the force that they were at one time. But Ken, this is what we talked about. It's a long season, right?
Oh yeah.
And this is when you're up to 60 some games, almost getting into 70 games. And then now, okay, body's tired, you got soreness. This is when the champions come out. This is when the ones that have been through it, that have the experience, that understands the gruel of a long season and can push themselves through it. And I think we're seeing that effect with Indiana. And so, kid, looking at this, the only change I can see happening is Indiana slipping down to that 7th spot and Miami moving up. I see Philly continuing to fall without Embiid.
Yeah.
The record clearly states that. I don't see Chicago change. I don't see Brooklyn being able to make it up in that 10th spot
No.
or Toronto. So I think, the point I was going to make earlier, that I think the play in, I mean the play in tournament on both particular conferences are pretty much set. Ken, anything else about the East before we switch to the West?
No, I think but I'm going to go to the top real quick. I just think
Mm,
if Cleveland, if they want, I mean, they only 2 games behind Milwaukee.
mm.
So,
Cleveland ain't gonna get that
um,
spot. They're not gonna
you
get
don't
that
think
spot.
so?
No, because Donovan Mitchell has been in and
I
out of the
know.
lineup, and I don't see them catching the Bucks. I think there's gonna be more separation between them and the Bucks. I think Cleveland have to be concerned about those Magic right behind them. They need to be thinking about those Magic more than they need to be thinking about the Bucks, because those Magic, man, they just one game behind them,
Right,
and they
exactly.
playing some good ball. So Cleveland, with the injuries they had, New York. I mean, when you look at Cleveland, Orlando, New York, man, those teams right there, that's a toss up.
Oh
Anybody
yeah,
slip
and
any. Go ahead, Ken.
it's going to change from what we're seeing right now. I think New York may move up. What I mean, if it's one or two spots, but I think they will move up.
If they can get healthy. I mean, that's
Well,
the thing about it. They got Randall out, they got Ananobi out. They got players that are not fully healthy. So that's the thing about the East. The chase for the East is really under Boston is health, even for the Bucks.
oh,
I mean, Chris Middleton he's back. Chris is looking great for the time he's
yeah.
played. But man, come on, man, no back to backs. I don't even want to get as a caveat. What I will say this: Chris came back, he looked great, played 32 minutes. If you divide that up, that was 16. We just put it down the middle, 16 minutes a half. He didn't play 16 minutes straight. So let's break that down. So you're trying to tell me he can't play a back to back after he's been off and he's only played in 4 or 5 minute spurts? That's
Saving them for that playoff.
come on, man. That's ridiculous, man. But anyway, Ken, anything else before we go to the
Nah,
West?
let's go to the West.
Okay, so when we look at the West here,
Oh my, whew,
man, see
man,
that, man, them teams, Ken, Phoenix, Sacramento, LA, Golden State.
Mike. Right off the bat, um, that Phoenix Dallas, basically they're tied.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so um, and I, to be honest with you, I think Phoenix will move into that sixth spot, and Dallas will move down.
Mm, mm. Wow,
And
wow.
you, oh man. So let's go with what we have right now. Let's just say
Okay.
if everything goes the way it is right now,
Mm-hmm.
the Suns would play Golden State,
Yeah.
and Sacramento would play the Lakers.
Lakers gone.
Now,
Lakers can't beat Sacramento, man. Not in Sacramento. Well, okay, let me back up. Let me back up
go
and
ahead.
hesitate for a minute, because the King got a game in him. Okay, so
Okay.
so so we know LeBron. LeBron will come out at his age and he'll put it all on the floor now. He might get 40, 45 on you. Even at his age, to win one game. Okay, we're talking one game. We're not talking a series. So I would give them a puncher's chance. In that Phoenix Golden State, man, can.
Man,
Mm, mm, mm.
I would go. I would go with Phoenix.
They be playing at home.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Man,
man, man,
you saying that
think of the
Golden State won't
potential.
even?
Think of the potential, Ken. The potential of a Kevin Durant gone, Booker gone, Bill gone, but Bill hasn't really been deep in the playoffs anyway. But LeBron and AD gone, Steph, uh, Clay, Draymond. You have a potential of all of those top NBA players not even being in the playoffs. Is that crazy?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, especially with Phoenix. I mean, you got, I mean, Booker, Durant, Bill. I mean, and come on, you got about
But
probably three
Ken,
best sharpshooters out there.
they haven't learned how to play together. I
Oh,
mean,
I
this
get.
is
Oh,
this is what we're learning from these teams, that the criticism of the Bucks, man, it takes. Why is Denver looking so good? Because they've played together.
play together.
They're
Yeah,
a well-oiled machine, man. And when you break up that machine, you put in new parts. It's take a while before it starts working correctly. And I think what we're seeing with Phoenix is Phoenix does not have enough time to get it together. They just ain't played enough together. If it's that easy, Ken, you would have a lot of other teams with championships. Like we
Oh
can just
yeah.
bring some people together and they can hardly play ever, and then they can play in the playoffs and win. We have not seen that in the history of the game. Let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets. Let's not. Okay, we know what
Mhm.
happened there,
Right.
right? I mean, we can go back to Barkley and Pippen, all them in Houston. We know what happened there, right? You cannot bring people together simply because they are talented, and you need time on that court. You need that chemistry. You need to know what happens at the end of the game, when the game gets tight. Who's going to take the lead? Who's going to take the shot? Who's going to be involved in that action? And that's got to be something you become accustomed to. Why is Boston playing so well together? Most of those guys have been playing together for
Oh.
years. You add somebody like Drew Holiday, who doesn't need the ball, who can find his own shot, who's great on defense. Man, that's just an addition.
Right.
He the
Yeah.
fourth option, you know.
Fourth. Shoot,
So I
sometimes
just
fifth.
exactly. So with Phoenix, who was the number one option in Phoenix?
That's a good question. You don't know.
I,
it just, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the number one option should be Durant, but that's just me.
I mean,
But Booker is what he's been there for. What?
man, Booker's
Wow.
been there his whole
He's been
career.
right. Yeah. So
I mean, so when you looking at so you would tend to think Phoenix, in your opinion, Phoenix and who you think would come out between Sacramento and LA.
But see, the thing about it, Mike, Phoenix is going to switch with Dallas. Dallas is going to drop. That's just my prediction.
So Dallas and Golden State.
Yeah.
You think Dallas can beat Golden State?
If you had to put a gun to my head, I'm gonna say no.
I mean,
I'm saying no, Mike.
they have fared well against Golden State. The problem is Dallas is playing some good basketball, man. I mean, their record doesn't, reflect, like they're dominating, but you're seeing Luka and Kyrie coexist in a really dangerous way. Okay. Um, so yes, I agree with you. I think, but you know what, Ken, what would be exciting though, man, is seeing Stephen Curry in this do or die situation, because they have not really been with their back up against the wall like this at this age, at this stage in his career. Do the Golden State Warriors have what it takes to win one game to get in, or two games to get in the
Yeah,
playoffs? Because they would have to play two games. So would they have enough to do that?
I'm gonna say yes, but the thing about it is that they off and on, and I don't know if that's just chemistry, change of the lineup, So it just depends on you know if that switch is on or if it's off,
Mm.
and Curry is going to be the lead component, but he's going to need some help. And where is that going to come from? I mean, Kaminga is playing well out of his
Yeah, he
mind,
is. Yeah, he is.
um, but after that, who else?
So who do you have? Let's just, and you can throw Dallas. Let's just throw Dallas in there because they're so
Okay,
close to Phoenix. Who do you have in the seventh and eighth spot in the West in the end?
so I'll say that I'm gonna take the Lakers, and I'm gonna
Mm,
take yeah, I'm gonna take the Lakers, and I would take probably Golden State.
mm. So you don't think Phoenix is? So you think Phoenix might be six and Dallas be out? You don't
Right?
think
Yeah.
Dallas is gonna make it?
No.
Oh man,
Mm-mm. And
no.
and, I, and let me go back to what you said. You said that Kyrie and um Luka's been playing well. My
hmm
defense on the other side of the ball, that defensive side, they terrible.
Yeah, they
So I
yeah.
just
Yeah.
that's my biggest gripe for
Mm-hmm.
Dallas. They just, on that defensive side, they just don't do it for me. So that's why I picked. What about
Yeah,
what
yeah,
about
yeah.
you?
Well, man, I think Dallas is gonna make the playoffs. I think they
Okay,
go if they go to the play in, I think they're gonna get in. If I had to choose, um, I think Phoenix has too much talent not to make it to the playoffs. I just think if you put them guys together in one game, I just think in one game they gonna get you. Um, so I would have to say, for me, I would say Phoenix, and I would have to say, man, I can't count out them Warriors, man. I think they have two, and we're talking about one game. So if we were talking about a
right. I know.
series,
See,
then I'd
that's
be
different,
talking
right?
something different, man. But I think when you bring guys like Curry and Draymond and Kaminga and my other guy,
Clay.
Clay, and then you got I can't even think of his name right now. I'm looking right at his face. But when you bring these guys, man, for one game, I think they are mature enough. I think they know how to play the game right, and I think they know how to get that one win. Because all you have to do is put your all. Well, see, Golden State would have to play two games, but I do think, man, them experience still is gonna win in the
Oh
end,
yeah.
man. And I think Phoenix is just too talented. I think Dallas is going to get in there. And I hate to count Sacramento out, but Sacramento is just too up and down, Ken, for me.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
they
I
are.
mean, they look amazing. And then they look like they can't hit a bucket or play defense. You know what I mean?
My Sacramento will, let's just say, beat OKC and
I
then
know.
lose to Utah.
I know. I know, get
So,
blown out by Utah.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean? That's what's so crazy. So, Ken, okay, let's go back to the East and wrap this thing up. So, who do you think
Okay.
will be seventh and eighth seed ultimately in the East?
So let's just go with what they have right now.
Okay.
Miami and Chicago.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah, I could definitely. I think the East is more clear than the West. I could
oh
definitely
yeah.
go with Miami and Chicago. And that means Boston, Milwaukee is going to be running up against Miami or Chicago. And
Yeah.
that should be an interesting um that should be an interesting
Well,
outcome. But home court, hey, you get first and second place, you got home court for at least the first two rounds.
right. And that's
So,
huge, I think.
man, that's huge nowadays, man, especially for these role players that don't play well on the road. Okay.
Right.
So I think is a huge deal, man. It's getting so excited, man. What is it? It's under what is 12 games left or something like
Some
that,
yeah.
man. I mean, it is we right down to the wire, Ken. And this is when you start to put it all together and see how it works in the press. Every game is crucial.
Oh
That's what
yes.
if the play in has done anything, it's made the end of the season more important. Now, I cannot take off games. I can't lose 3, 4 games in a row because that's putting me out. That's putting me in a play in.
Right.
I mean, that's how tight. When we look at these records, Ken, they only divided by 1 or 2 games.
Look at Phoenix and Dallas. I mean,
You
depends
can't.
on how
Yeah, they're
how they
tied.
play
You
at the
exact
end. Right.
every game. No. I can't sit you down. That's why teams right now, man, are trying to figure out like, whoa, I can't really rest you because if I rest you, then we're gonna end up. This is Miami's problem. Do you want to end
Yeah.
up playing 2 games and then coming to the juggernaut to play the Bucks or play to play Boston? And you didn't already had health issues along the way. You want to make sure you get that 6th spot so that you can
Oh,
have some rest, right?
right.
Um, So it's exciting, man. It's exciting to see what's going to happen. So there's some predictions right there, folks. We want to hear your predictions. Who do you think is going to come out of that play-in tournament? Will there be a major shift? I mean, who knows? I mean, we might find Phoenix might go on a run. The
Yeah.
West is that close. Will Golden State go on a run and get up to that six? I mean, it's not that far many games behind them, man. And there is enough games, but you are going to have to put in the work. And I'm not just sure if I think some teams are just settling like, okay, if we just get in the play in, we good. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And then the last thing I'll say, Mike, is Philly. I mean, you Embiid trying to come back, what does that do for you? If it was me, as I said before, I would just shut him down, Mike. I just wouldn't risk it. I mean, too valuable of a player to, bring him back so quick or try to bring him back so quick. I put it that way.
Yeah, number one, we know Ken, if he doesn't feel like he was just born, okay, 100%. We know how NBA players are. If he doesn't feel like he just came out his mother's womb and he feel great, he not gonna play. You know how they are. So if we see him
Right.
on the court, we gonna know he's feeling good because these cats are not the medical staff, man. They not gonna let these dudes play if they got a hangnail they don't feel comfortable with. Let's be honest. But I do think if he comes back, man, listen, 60% Embiid is better than most of the big men in the league. Let's
Oh,
just be
yeah.
honest.
Oh.
Let's be honest, man. If he's 60%, if he gonna come in and give you 20 and 7, I mean, from that
Oh.
position, I think Philly. That's why I say Philly. I don't think he can come back and make them a championship team. But I think he can come back and they can make some serious noise, bro. They can make some
Oh,
folks real nervous because I
right.
don't see a Joel Embiid team with him even being 60% getting swept. Okay, you're gonna have to deal with him. And then plus, there is that rest period where you're not playing back to back. You got, a couple days off here and there. So during the playoffs, so who knows, man? He might be able to muster up. But I'm with you, Ken. He's too valuable. But however, man, the clock is ticking, baby.
Yeah, right.
You man, do you want to waste the whole season? Like knowing that you have to go back and if you when you're there, oh man, you better take full advantage of it.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
because when we look at the landscape of the league, the Orlandos are coming. The Knicks are coming. I mean, let's be honest, Ken. Phoenix is gonna be better next year.
Oh,
Okay. The Bucks are gonna be better next year. Right. So when you looking at these teams, man, it's not getting easier. Next year's
so yeah,
next year's gonna be harder for
right.
Boston's gonna be better next year because they didn't play a year with Drew, with Porzingis and all of that. So if you Embiid, you're looking like, oh man, I got to get to getting right now
Right.
because next year is going to be even more difficult. Ken, all right, Ken, man, great show, bro. Give us the last word.
Yeah.
What you think, man?
I think I still say this, Mike, even as far as the West is concerned, I don't see anybody beating Denver.
Mm.
Too good of a team. And I think on the Eastern Conference side, I mean, I look at Boston, they got the best starting five, really starting six, tell you the truth. So I don't see anybody. So I'll look at Boston and Denver in the NBA Finals.
I hate to say this only because I'm a Bucks fan,
I know.
but bruh, when I'm gonna say this, when you see Chris Middleton and Dame and Giannis on that court together, that's a scary combination, man. When I'm watching Chris play and Chris move, we have forgotten just how
Yeah.
cold-blooded Chris is. See, that's the problem. We have forgotten how, man, Chris Chris is an all-star. I mean, he a good player, but he an all-star.
Right.
And when that dude, man, when he cooking, so all I'm gonna say is like this: Boston, great team, #1 in the East, best record. But I'm gonna tell you like this: I can guarantee you, Boston is not saying give me a Giannis and a Dame and a healthy Chris Middleton.
Oh no.
I can tell you that.
No.
But I can guarantee you, I can guarantee you, Milwaukee say, let's go get it. I can guarantee you the mentality is different on both ends, man, because we have not seen. That's almost the beauty of Milwaukee. We haven't seen them click. And what happens when
Well, I
they
hope we
click?
see it.
So what I'm saying is I just think, man, the playoffs gonna be so interesting, man. And I'm looking forward to not just what's gonna happen, with the Eastern Conference final. But I think we're gonna have some shockers even moving up to it, man.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. I mean, don't be shocked if Boston fall. Okay,
No,
don't be shocked, because if you have a couple of bad shooting games for Boston, you're gonna be in trouble in the series. So don't be shocked if Boston fall, because Boston wins one way and one way on you only. They gonna shoot you out the gym. They play great defense. Don't get me wrong. Now, Boston, man, they a lockdown defensive team. Don't get me wrong. So they know how to play the other end. I just think for them, their style of play puts them in more danger of losing. And we do know Boston cannot beat Denver. They cannot beat Denver. If Boston comes out of the East, to me, the only team that I think could possibly match up with Denver are the Milwaukee Bucks, because of their size and because of the pace of the game.
I give you that.
Denver's just too much. There is no answer for Jokic. There's just no answer for him. And if you cannot compensate in some way, I mean, who's going to make him play defense in Boston? Who? Al Horford?
No, stop.
I mean, the other guy that comes off the bench, like, there's no big guy. Like, you got Brook that can pull him out. You got Giannis that can take him down. Like, you have no one on Boston that matches up with him. That's why Boston has such a bad matchup problem with Denver, because he the best player on the team, and you have no one that can match up him and challenge him on the other end. So he's just gonna sit back and just pick you apart and do whatever he want to do, and reserve his energy. But Ken, great show, man. Folks, listen, as always, folks, hit that like, that subscribe, the notification, send it out. And we always love your comments. Keep them coming. Because the world of sports unites us. Let us therefore take this unity in our everyday life. This is why they play the game.